Hello everyone, friends. We have given information about the Neolithic period in Anatolia, the conditions of the time and the development processes. In this video, we will talk about Çatalhöyük, the most important settlement area of the period. Let's start with OHAL, so that when we say Neolithic, the most well-known and longest excavated place is the Forklode. During the Neolithic period, there were settlements mostly in the south of the Taurus Mountains. Along with the Chalcolithic, North Anatolia will gain importance due to mining. Çatalhöyük is about 45 minutes away from Konya. There are double hills here, east and west. It continues until early Chalcolithic. Everything seen in the Neolithic Revolution package is loaded into the fork. It is almost a Neolithic metropolis. During its period, it had an estimated population of 5,000 to 8,000 people, and now the Neolithic package was completed with the domestication of the bull. The Konya Plain, where the fork meal is settled, is a very fertile place. The excavations of the area were carried out by James Malik. While periods such as the Neolithic were previously considered to have occurred only in Mesopotamia, James Mond said that this was not the case and documented it.
He then finds Hasandagi and Basi Sultan and explores these places and makes the first excavations himself.
There are various speculations about James Malott. In one of them, a woman he met on the train tells him that his father found valuable items and takes him to the house where the items are, and James Mater hangs out with the police after taking a picture of these finds. When the police asked where the records were, they answered the dilemma and the excavation permit in Turkey was revoked for a certain period of time. In a second incident, he says that he saw inscriptions with inscriptions, and if this were accepted, it would turn out that civilization was started by Labis in Anatolia, not by the Hellenes. Therefore, it was considered to be a fabrication by it was not accepted. For those who wrote history to accept such a fact would have meant that all Hellenistic stories would have been cast aside. Mantar's digging of fork meal in the 1960s had the effect of a time bomb, and although those who see wealth do not believe that a normal people live here and think that rulers or clerics live, it is understood by research that this is not the case and that a normal people live here. Çatalhöyük is completely surrounded by trees. When you come here, the environment starts to turn green. The reason for this is the river passing by. It has been used as a dual function for both agriculture and fishing. There are mountains and a range of hills just behind. This means that there are hunting areas for the public in case of any difficulties in finding food. The mound has two trenches. The feature of the north trench is that it is a side opening. When the side opening is made, we have the chance to observe the layers that the mound passes from the past to the present like a time tunnel. 18 separate stages are observed when a 21-meter embankment is entered from the side. This means that the houses there were burned down and destroyed, or deliberately demolished and rebuilt. Here, half of the upper wall of the house along with the roof is filled into the compartment where the lower wall is closed and then made into a plane. And another new house is built behind it. Each stage introduces these layers. When we say fork, a lot of wall paintings come to mind. And the majority of these paintings were found in this northern trench, while the southern trench that opens is at the top of the mound. It doesn't go deep and it has been opened up to understand what the city looked like at a certain moment. Dekal Member was settled between 7,400 and 7,100 years BC. Settlement. There is no ritual center, Kurdish center or public buildings in the settlement. People have lived in the same place for a long time. They have now completely solved the secret of constant living. The houses are tightly built. There is no room for streets and streets. The spaces between the houses that look like streets are the garbage December decanted areas of the houses or the common courtyards between the houses. The meaning of the houses was great for the people of Çatalhöyük. The houses were not only households, but also in areas where ritual and social relations took place. The houses were roughly rectangular, and people used the top of the roofs to walk like streets. Entrances were made from the roof for purposes such as protection from animals, etc. The difference has emerged because other houses have been demolished and built on to make new houses. Inside the house there is a main room and two side rooms used as storerooms or warehouses entered from that main room. The roof entrances face south. The dead are buried under the platform, i.e. the sekis.
It used to be used as a cooking technique in Çatalhöyük. These clay balls are thrown into the cooked dish to save on fire.
Because it is used as an accelerator by heating it on fire. Since the inside of the houses is not any other public or religious structure, it is also used as a cultural center. For example, 160 layers of plaster were determined on a plaster with a thickness of 3 inches.
Most likely, this is because plaster is pulled into the houses for cleaning purposes and thus cleaned at certain times before religious rituals. In the houses, either bull horns made of plaster or pieces with real bones are appliqued to the wall.
The fork-load man tamed the bull and they went hard on the bulls. Hunting ceremony pictures related to the bull are also widely seen on the walls.
The bull is always a symbol of power. The horns of the bull are brought into the house. Under this it is believed that the power of the bull also passes to the person who killed him or the people in that household in a spiritual sense.
And for this reason, he wants to be allowed to move home. Another interesting fact is that under the high platforms that we call seki, which are in almost every house and are located in another corner of the house, symbolizes the baby in the womb, which we call the position, the number of which ranges from 2 to 60, the decapitation of the bodies of the dead. The people of Çatalhöyük have buried their own dead under the central room in their houses, and the red vultures clean up the skeleton. These vultures eat only skin and meat and do not touch tissue. They are then bound and buried. There are also those who say that his head was plastered and painted after it melted into everything in his skull. And there are those who say that he took it directly and painted it. This understanding hard dreams also exist in Tibetans and shamans. It is a 9,000-year-old practice. Zoroastrianism is a 2,500-year-old faith. There may be two purposes for people to bury the ancestor's head under the house and display it like covering it with plastel. The first is the emergence of the concept of property. So, since it's unknown how the house was licensed, if you don't believe it, it's said that the skull is also standing here. The second is atticulture. It is my ancestor worship in Atticum. It is widespread in pre-Islamic Central Asian Turkic societies. There is a belief that the shaman's duty is to have a dialogue with the ancestors. On the other hand, James Manda, according to him, the use of red vaccine dye has a kind of protective effect. This paint, which is found on almost every list from skeletons to objects, was applied to keep evil spirits away. There is a lot of symbolism when the fork is loaded. This reveals that a person can think abstractly now. The southern part of the house was used for everyday tasks, food production and similar tasks. On the other wall of the house, it was usually decorated with bull heads and a bear figure on top of them. Bears are depicted in the same way on stamp seals. Leopard depictions are another frequently used motifs. The horns and tusks of other wild animals were brought into the house and appliqued on the walls. A large group of people who seem to be hunting wild animals here actually seem to be teasing and making fun of the animals. Eventually these animals are hunted and perhaps sacrificed. They were consumed by organizing a banquet with wide participation. The inedible organs of animals were taken to homes and their walls were ablated as a memory of this social event with wide participation. If there is no central authority in Çatalhöyük, such activities should have brought people together for different purposes. Lewis Williams interprets these hunting or glow scenes as the transfer of special powers to humans. He also explains the animal limbs that are consciously mounted on the walls as appropriating spiritual power to themselves. He even expresses that the community is in a competition that wants to pass on the power of a strong animal such as a bull to them. In a mural found in Çatalhöyük, it appears for the first time that the double-peaked Hasan mountain experienced a volcanic eruption, and this is depicted. It is said that people left their current settlement after the explosion and moved to the other fork Oguk section, that is, to the south. This event, which took place in the 8,500 years BC, is considered to be the last explosion of Cappadocia. It is important for the first time in terms of the reflection of a historical natural event on the picture. We'll never find out one thing. I wonder what people were saying about forks at that time. Since there is no writing, it is not possible to access this data. The phenomenon of the mother goddess called Kabbalah or Cybele appeared for the first time in the Folklore. We said there is a patriarchal religion in Göbekli Tepe. That religion is later considered to be the starting point of the Sumerian, Akkadian and Abrahamic religions that will come later in the Middle East. The concept of the mother goddess is a situation that will greatly affect other epics. In the pagan period, most of the time the main masculine understanding is the center of gravity. Artemis of Ephesus is also a matriarch. It symbolizes fertility and is in harmony with nature. The land gives crops, it gives women and children. That's why they call Mother Earth. Nowadays these structures are in the Museum of Anatolian Civilizations. The understanding of the mother goddess was accepted very quickly in Anatolia and spread to western Anatolia. According to the site Hudora, some of these sculpted women are women who are respected in society. We have come to the end of the chapter. In the next chapter, I will talk in detail about the Chalcolithic period and important developments of the period in Anatolia. To support my channel and subscribe to my channel for more videos, don't forget to click the like button and turn on the notification bell. Greetings and love to everyone. You'll be well.